What's going on? It's Connor from the Dolphins Dive, and today's preview day for Sunday night, not Sunday night, but Sunday day football, Dolphins Packers on Christmas. It is prime time technically because there's only three games on, I believe, during the day, so it's gonna be very interesting to watch. Hopefully, we all have good Christmases. The Dolphins take a nice dub, and we can enjoy the rest of our day. But we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna be here to break down right here. So you know how we do it: Dolphins offense versus Packers defense. So the Dolphins offense is ranked ninth in points per game. Packers defense being ranked 16th. Dolphins are third in passing yards per game. The Packers defense this actually surprised me. They're second in the league in passing yards allowed per game. Dolphins are 27th in rushing yards per game, and the Packers are 29th in rushing yards allowed. And the Dolphins are coming off a very good rushing performance, but it should be interesting to see what happens. So into the offensive keys of the game, kind of just what I said, build off last week's rushing attack. There's been a few games where the Dolphins have had good rushing games, and then I'm like, okay, are they going to build off this the next game? And they don't. So I'm hoping we see that consistency where there's a emphasis on running the football and having success while doing so. Because if you're running the ball for 1 to 2 yards a play, like there's no point in trying to emphasize running the ball when you can successfully pass. So I understand why the Dolphins do that at points, but I'm hoping in terms of how the offensive line performs and just the scheme in general, that there's a strong emphasis on the running game and that we have success doing so because we're going to need it down the stretch and in the playoffs, and it just makes our passing offense that much more difficult to stop, basically, and more explosive. Number two, convert third downs. Now, the Dolphins overall in general have had a good job converting on third downs. However, when it's third and short, third and two, where it's like, oh, are they going to run the ball here? We never seem to have success. We usually pass it and we don't have success. It's been an emphasis throughout the McDaniel press conferences when he's been getting asked and his answers. But that's a big part of what we need to work on to improve the offense because it helps extend drives, keeps the defense on the field, keeps our defense off the field to extend drives. Because the Dolphins, there are so many instances where we would hit like third and tens when you wouldn't expect it, but then it's like third and two when we fuck it up. So converting these short third downs will be critical to extending these drives, making our offense more successful. And last but not least, and this kind of falls into last week as well, get 7, not 3 in the red zone. And there was multiple times where we were able to, and whether it be a drop or a drop. I think it was really only dropped in the red zone last week. So yeah, finishing drives completely instead of just settling for 3 would be big. For this offense to continue to progress and improve. But generally speaking, we have had success in the red zone. It was really just those drops last week that really killed us. So defensive players to watch for the Packers, I got 4 of them, yeah, 4 of them. Kenny Clark, who's actually been having a down year based off the numbers that I looked at, but he's still a big name. He's still a difference maker in that front 7 for them. He's mainly a nose tackle, but like I said, he makes a lot of noise for them. Although having a down year, Jair Alexander, you guys all know him, one of the best cornerbacks in all of football. Should be interesting to see how they use him because he's the number one. Like, it's all fun in games. You put your best corner, your best receiver until it's Tyreek Hill and he can run by everybody. So do they put Jair on Tyreek and put him 10 yards back? Do they give him safety help? It should be interesting to see how they use him there. Devondre Campbell, who's their middle linebacker, actually someone I wanted the Dolphins to pursue like for the longest time. He's a big guy in the middle of the field, but he can also run. We saw him against the Cardinals to his rookie year, and I've just seen him ever since. He's a stud. I wanted the Dolphins to get him this offseason as well, but the Packers brought him back. He's a force in the middle, and like I say, he's going to be hard to move over the middle of the field just because how big and athletic he is. So even if he bites on a run fake, he might have enough makeup speed to get back into the throwing lane and potentially make a play on the football. So he's someone to watch out for. He's a very good player. And last but not least, Preston Smith. They're basically marquee pass rusher now that Rashawn Gary's hurt and Zadarius Smith is gone. So Preston Smith can still make an impact. He's not a crazy like he's not like I would say not a top 10 pass rusher, but in general though he's still a very good player. So he's someone you have to look out for. He's probably their best pass rushing guy on that line now with the injuries. So someone to look out for. So now we go into the Dolphins defense versus the Packers offense, and we all know we've all been upset with the Dolphins defense, and it's really confusing. I don't know. We have had injuries in the secondary, but we have a lot of talent between Wilkins, Sealer, Chubb, Phillips, like something's not matching up. Why are we not? I feel like we should be better than we are. Is that Boyer's fault? I'm starting to think so. I'm kind of pushing for Fangio personally. Comment down below your thoughts on that. So the Packers' offense is 20th in points per game. Dolphins' defense is 26th. Packers are 16th in passing yards per game. Dolphins are 27th in passing yards allowed. So clear discrepancy. Packers are 12th in rushing yards per game. Dolphins are 10th in rushing yards allowed. But to make note on the Dolphins end, we'd probably be like the number 2, number 1 rushing defense if quarterback running wasn't allowed. And obviously it's a number that has to go against it. But they're two different kinds of running. Like against the Packers, you do not have to worry about the QB scramble. So our rushing defense is actually probably better than the 10th ranked. Obviously, if they have a rushing quarterback, that's different skill, and that's something the Dolphins need to work on in general. So yeah, I would say our rushing defense is better than that number shows. So first defensive key of the game, stop the run. Obviously, we have a good rushing defense, but the Packers emphasize the running game. LaFleur comes from the Shanahan tree, so you guys know from our own offense, their first thing is to actually establish the run, despite what the Dolphins have done. They have two phenomenal running backs in A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, who can make huge impacts. A.J. Dillon's actually going to be a free agent too, so it should be interesting to see where he lands up. So yeah, they're going to be trying to run the football consistently. It's the defensive line's job to make sure that doesn't happen. Number 2, this is my thinking on why the defense hasn't been so successful, and it's more physical at the line of scrimmage, jamming wide receivers, because there's so many instances where whether it be quick game or the defense is just a hair away from getting the sack, it's just we haven't been at the line of scrimmage as much, and that's probably by design. The coaching staff know what they're doing. Like, as much as us fans want to be critical, they know what they're doing, but due to the injuries to Byron, Nick Needham, Brandon Jones, like it just affects your secondary, so you can't be as aggressive at the line of scrimmage because you're more likely to get burnt. So I understand it, but also I feel like if we did play more press man or just press in general, it would give that defensive line just a hair extra second to get to the quarterback that we've been seeming to get or to be missing. And then the last key of the game is don't try to get too cute defensively. Don't try and run some crazy exotic pressures. Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. He knows what's happening before we do. You know what I mean? So like, if you try and get all confusing and try to confuse one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, I feel like you're more likely going to shoot yourself in the foot. And I kind of take back the pressure part. I mean more of like a coverage thing where you're trying to like get too cute and then you get out of place. But you obviously need to affect Aaron Rodgers. You need to get pressure on him. But I feel like our base pass rush should be able to do so. But also send the occasional pretzel pressure in order to get to the quarterback. So I meant that more of a coverage standpoint where like you try to get too cute disguising, you end up probably hurting yourselves because he can tell what's happening before it even happens. So offensive players to watch, obviously the aforementioned Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the best in the league. He's having a down year, but he's the back-to-back MVP, absolute stud. He gets a lot of flack, but I'm a big Aaron Rodgers guy. He's a phenomenal football player. And the human being is also very interesting. I think he's a good dude, but that's kind of seems to be a 50-50 thing. Aaron Jones, one of the best running backs in all of football. He's a dynamic playmaker in space with the ball in his hands in the running game or passing game. He's a tremendous receiver of the football. A.J. Dillon, like I mentioned, very, very physical. He's like 250 pounds, big, strong guy. You're going to have to bring your fucking tackling shoes when you meet him in the A-gap. Him versus Landon Roberts should be a fun tackle battle to see who wins that. And does A.J. Dillon become a Dolphin? I don't know. Maybe. Christian Watson. I didn't know which Packers receivers, but they have a couple different guys that you could have put. Randall Cobb's kind of their safety valve. He's always reliable for them. Alan Lazard makes plays here and there, but I'm just putting Christian Watson here just because he's so explosive. He's that one guy where he'll take a slant to the house, he'll run a 9-ball past everybody. So he's just the guy to make sure you don't let beat you because he's so explosive. He's a 6'4" gazelle. Elton Jenkins, who just got a payday like 30 minutes ago, absolute stud. I remember watching him. This is when I was really big into draft stuff. I remember him coming out of college and at the Senior Bowl, and he was playing. He could play basically every position on the offensive line. He did it for the Packers basically already. I'm pretty sure he's played center, guard, and tackle already, so that's pretty absurd. And last but not least, David Bakhtiari. I believe he's on the injury report, but I have a feeling he'll probably play. He's left tackle, so he's probably going to be going up against Bradley Chubb for the most part. So it should be interesting to see that battle. A lot of Dolphins fans clamoring for Bradley Chubb to do better, and I understand when you trade a first-round pick for a guy, when you give him this massive extension, you expect huge performance, rightfully so. But you also have to keep in mind, I do see him making plays. He's one of those guys where he's just a hair off of the quarterback, as well as the fact that he's also brand new to the scheme. But I'm not making excuses. When you're paying a guy that much money, you would like to see a TJ Watt level takeover of a game, and we've yet to see that. But it's something he's striving for. He's already said it. So I would just give Bradley Chubb a little bit of a break. He's a stud. Just give it time. It should be interesting to see. But also, do the Dolphins get Vic Fangio and pair them back up together? I don't know, maybe. So that's it for the preview. Now we do the prediction. Make sure you comment your prediction down below too. I'm always interested to see what you guys think is going to happen. I've got the Dolphins winning 31-20. But by no means is this an easy game for the Dolphins. The Packers are a desperate team that need to win out to make the playoffs, and they're a good team. They just came off a big dub against, I don't even know who they just beat. It wasn't a good team, but still, they beat the Rams. But nonetheless, when you have Aaron Rodgers, their defense has underperformed all year, but they still got good players on the defense. They're a desperate team. They're going to be doing everything to win. This is a losable game. The Dolphins need to be on their P's and Q's to make sure they win this. Despite that, I have us winning 31-20. Dolphins are 8-6. I'm 10-4 in predictions. So if the Dolphins win, they'll be 9-6. I'll be 11-4. Hoping the Dolphins can win out, get the best possible seeding for the playoffs. It's likely that we make it. You can watch my last video too to see the chances of us making the playoffs are. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It means a lot to me. Check out the Dolphins side for dope Dolphins merch. We just dropped a new piece today. So it would mean a lot. And until next time, I'll catch y'all.